Hey, my lovely people. Welcome back to A Black Cat's Voice. I'm your host, Kat, here with a brand new episode. And for today's episode, I would like to talk about what I call rhythm and blues. Rhythm and blues, right? So I know when you hear rhythm and blues, you probably think of R&B music and stuff, right? No, I'm thinking rhythm and blues of how they go together so perfectly. You know, how it's like a perfectly fitting puzzle. You know, if you pay attention to a lot of the best artists, a lot of the best singers, painters, dancers, actors, athletes, you know, there's so many examples, poets, like myself. There's so many examples of people who have so much talent, you know, but their stories are just so painful and so tragic. It's like, oh my gosh, did you get all this talent, or do you have all this talent, you know, because of what you've been through? You know, it really makes you ask the question, because it's like the most talented people have to go through the most horrible things, you know, but that talent, you know, just like perfect example, Whitney Houston, right? Love me some Whitney Houston forever. Love me some Whitney Houston, but her story, oh, her story is so tragic. It's so sad, but that talent, you can't deny the talent, you know? But look what she had to go through. And it's like a lot of the time, people will see your accolades, you know, and see your life and see your talents, but they never want to acknowledge what struggles and heartbreaks and hard work you had to go through to get to where you're at. You know what I mean? Like, it's like with Whitney Houston, she had that beautiful, amazing voice. You know, she was beautiful, she was funny, she had all that talent, but it's like everybody could see her for who she was but herself. And that's what makes it so tragic. You know, it's like everybody, people would love to have that voice, you know, and people love to hear that voice. They still play her records to this day, you know, even after she's been gone for years, because people still want the talent. But why didn't people appreciate Whitney and love her through her blues, you know, through her sadness, while they were so busy loving her for her talent? Like, it's so crazy how, I don't know if people just pretend not to see you or if they really don't see you struggling. But once you succeed, they can't get enough of you. They can't get enough of you. And it's like, we all need help. You know, we all need help at certain points in our life, and we're all going to continuously need help, because that's what we're here to do in this human experience, is to help each other and help ourselves as much as we can. But it's like, when you get to the lowest points of your life, the hardest, toughest points of your life, and feeling like you don't have people around you to help you. But when you get to the triumphs and when you get to the smiles, you know, it's like everybody wants that side of you. Like, why is it set up that way that, you know, that's why I call it rhythm and blues. Like, people will love your talent. You know, they want that rhythm, just like they do with Black people. You know, they want that rhythm. They want our ability to dance, our ability to sing, our ability to captivate a room, a culture, every place we go. You see the influence of Black people, because we are it. It's just facts. It is what it is. We're it. But nobody thinks about the struggles that we go through, that universally, it's like, who would want to go through that? Have y'all ever seen that video where the professor, this white lady, she asked her class, she said, if any of y'all could change places with Black people in this country, would you? You know, and she obviously only asking the people who's not Black. Not one person said they would, you know? And it's like, it's so bittersweet, you know, when you really get some self-esteem about yourself, when you really get things going right in your life, when you really get through them dark days when you didn't know how you was gonna stop yourself from crying, you didn't know if you'd be able to sleep because your mind is just racing and going, you know, when you didn't know if you would be able to put down maybe the alcohol or the drugs or whatever it was that was really harming you. You didn't know if you would be able to do that. And you got through that. And people weren't there for you through that. But once you start doing good, once you show a sign of anything, now people want to come around as if now you have worth and you have value. And that's what really bothers me, about life. It's like, why can't we appreciate people for both? Not everybody is perfect. Nobody's perfect. Not everybody has the same story, and some people go through such tragedies and such hurt, and it's like, don't nobody want to be there to hold your hand when you're going through the sad stuff. But when it's time to celebrate, everybody want to come. It's like the old people saying, everybody want to come eat. Everybody want to come eat when the food was done, but wasn't nobody in the kitchen helping make the food. Y'all didn't come set the table. Y'all ain't buy nothing. But everybody want to come eat. Everybody want to come feast with you. When they feel like you got this talent, when they feel like they see something in you that now adds to your value. And I just hate, I feel like people are valuable regardless, like if you have a talent, then that's wonderful. But that's not going to make me treat you better or worse just because you could sing or dance or entertain me. If you cool, I don't care if you could do none of that. Yeah, we'll have an entertaining time if you can, but if you can't, why is people's values attached to their talent? Why can't we just respect and honor people for who they are? And why can't we appreciate both cohesively? When it's just like, that's how the pieces to the puzzle always fit. For me, when people see me, I'm a published author, I've been in 6 magazines now. I've got 6 magazine interviews under my belt. I've done several poetry shows, I've done all these beautiful things. And when people see my life and they're like, man, I don't know how you do it. Man, I don't know how you write books like that. Man, I don't know how you get up and talk in front of people and stuff. I wish, I had that. It's like, no, you don't, sweetheart. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. And I'm going to be all the way honest with you, because it took some really dark days to see the light again, And some days it's like everybody want to eat with me, but y'all wasn't starving with me. When I was homeless, when I didn't have a job, when I didn't know how I was going to feed myself every day, a lot of people were not there for that. But now that they feel like I have a talent because other people are talking about it, or because they can see it now, when I've always been the same person, it's like treating me as if now I have value when I had value the whole time. It's crazy. There is no rhythm without blues. You have to have balance and duality in everything. So when you see people and you jealous of their life or their story or whatever they're going through, you don't know how much darkness they had to fight through just to be a light to other people. You don't know. For me, it's like, I'm happy I'm able to motivate and help and love people, but the things that I have experienced, the things that I still think about sometimes, I would not wish that on people I don't even like. I wouldn't wish my life on my worst enemy. I really wouldn't. And I'm just saying all this to say that I really feel like as people, we could do a lot better if we just learn to honor each other a little more for the capacity of both. When you see somebody doing great and stuff, you don't know what it might have taken for them to reach that point. Just like when you see somebody at their lowest and going through a low point, it don't make a person less valuable just because they depressed. Sometimes life really be a lot, sometimes people really do die that you love, or you really do go through sickness or injury, or you lose a job or lose a friend or get your heart broken. Don't treat people like they're less valuable just because right now they can't give you what you want. Right now they can't show you that talent or whatever it is about them you like to see. You know, people are always meant to be loved and to be valued. And even where we cannot or where we don't know how to give that to other people, we need to always be able to give that to ourselves and remind and be gentle with ourselves in knowing that you gotta have both, you know? You gotta have rainbows to have flowers. I'm sorry, rainbows. You gotta have rainstorms to have flowers. You know, you gotta have sunshine and rain. You know, roses come with thorns. Like, it's both. So remember that both are valuable. So even if you're going through a hard time, even if you're giving yourself a hard time, you know, just remember that you're still just as worthy on your worst day as you will always be on your best one. And anybody that makes you question that, it's not somebody you should keep in your life. And you heard that from Kat. Period. Know your worth. Know your worth. You know? Know your worth. Understand who you are. And just, you know, just remember that there is no rhythm without blues, just like there is no blues without rhythm. So even if life is hard, it'll get better. You know, sometimes it takes some time. It might not be today, might not be tomorrow, might be a couple years. I don't really know, but it'll get better. And just like when life is the best it's ever been, the most beautiful it's ever been, you know, it doesn't mean you don't have to go through any storms anymore. It doesn't mean you don't have to go through any challenges anymore. We all face struggles at any phase of life. And you know, one of the best things that I learned from one of these books that I was reading is humility and experience. And I appreciate even the most negative, traumatic experiences in my life. I appreciate all the bad ones just as much as the good ones. Because you have to remember that humility comes in remembering that it could always be you. So that's on both scales. Just like life can be the best it's ever been, life can be the worst it's ever been. And it could always be you. It could always be you. Remember that. Well, before I get off the air, I just once again, would like to say that if you're dealing with things, if you're learning to process your emotions, you're learning to navigate how you feel, I do write books about that topic. So go ahead and check out my website. And I really believe you'll find some words that resonate with you and resonate with knowing and understanding. It's okay not to be okay sometimes, you know, but you'll get through it because it's rhythm and it's blues. You know, it's both. Everything works out cohesively and everything is connected way better than you ever think it could be. Honor yourself, love yourself, and know you are valued and you are valuable. Always. And thank you so much for listening.